We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live.
With Anthony Joshua is off the table if Deontay Wilder knocks him out in the trilogy. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working now. Head over to Patreon or become a YouTube channel member. YouTube channel member is easy. Just hit the join button next to the subscribe button to become a YouTube channel member, or you can join the Patreon side of things. I'm going to be shifting some different things that I'm working on to that side, and we're going to have some fun and build that up. Another great way to support the channel is click the link, sign up for ESPN Plus. It does help the channel when you guys click on my link. ESPN Plus, home of a ton of original content. They got exclusives, BTS, you know, some scenes that didn't make it to the Michael Jordan documentary, Last Dance, and just really interesting stuff. So sign up for that. You can get ESPN Plus as a standalone app, or you can bundle it, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all three apps, one price, $12.99. Now, Sky Sports, link in the description. Tyson Fury is ready to deliver a huge world title fight against Anthony Joshua to satisfy the public demand. Right? It says Tyson Fury wants a huge world title fight against Anthony Joshua to satisfy the public demand and warn his British rival not to derail plans by losing to Kubrat Pulev. Unified champion Joshua would, quote, sign now, which, you know, was clout chasing from Eddie Hearn and Team Joshua, because he can't. He has to fight Kubrat Pulev, and Tyson Fury is fighting Wilder. It's very simple, you know. So this is Eddie Hearn clout chasing. Says Fury has reiterated his desire for an undisputed world title fight, but must firstly overcome Deontay Wilder again in a contracted third clash, while Joshua next defends his belts against the IBF mandatory challenger Pulev. Listen, new media, we control the narrative. The UK media, UK personnel, they need to step up their media game, right? Whoever wrote this article, and this is just, I'm not just picking on this article, but in general, it says Fury has reiterated his desire for undisputed. No biggie with that. It says, but must firstly overcome Deontay Wilder again in a contracted, you see that? Hardcore rapper, but he's contracted. In a contracted third clash. So a trilogy fight. While Joshua next defends his belt against IBF mandatory. Look up mandatory in the definition in the dictionary. Kubrat Pulev, right? But just the stanza before this, even though they are full aware that this is the case, you have two obstacles and roadblocks that don't look like they're going to get out of the way to make Joshua Fury, right? They keep reiterating what Eddie Hearn's talking about. They got to step it up. Look, unified champion Joshua would now sign for a showdown with WBC champion. All of that is cap and is null and void. He can't now sign when Wilder now signs for an immediate rematch, which they acknowledge. I don't know why the UK wants to baby these situations. What is the point of Eddie Hearn saying that Joshua will now sign for something that he can't? Because he needs to fight his mandatory, which was an actual scheduled fight before this pandemic, and Wilder is not moving out of the way, confirmed by Bob Arum and Wilder himself, for a contracted third clash. This is simple mathematics. So this is what I mean with the Eddie Hearn clout chasing. But back to Fury. Fury says, and I quote, "If I get knocked out by Deontay Wilder, then it won't be on, will it?" Fury exclusively told Sky Sports. So he's saying and admitting, If Wilder stretches him, if that happens in the trilogy, then that's gonna end the talk for a Joshua fight right off rip. I mean, Wilder will have his belt back. He says it will be another fight with Wilder and so forth and so on. If he loses to Pulev, Joshua, so close but so far away. In heavyweight boxing, you can never count your chickens before they hatch, so it's one fight at a time, one victory at a time. All going well, God willing, we get on the big fight with me and Joshua, the all-British showdown, and I could give the fans what they want to see, especially the British fans. It will be the biggest fight since, I believe, Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno. It was a while ago at Cardiff Arms Park. But Dillian White is also part of Fury's future plans, mandatory challenger. He needs to stop talking rubbish and let's have a go. It will be a major fight. Let's have it out, White told the Boxing Show from his training camp for Povetkin. If I was such an easy fight, why is he not in a rush to fight me? He said before beating Wilder, when I beat Wilder, I'm going to give Dillian White his title shot. He talks rubbish. This is war. Let's go. Joshua had previously challenged Fury by telling Sky Sports, yes, come fight me. If you really want to say you're number one, come fight me. Let's get it on. Right? And then they referenced, I guess, the link where he said that. Joshua looks sleepy right there. I've got the rest of the belt, so it only makes sense. I'm the unified heavyweight champion of the world. He's the WBC champion. What it will prove, me and him fighting, there will be one dominant figure in the heavyweight division, that we all have the belts and become undisputed. Logically, to prove yourself as number one, I have to fight Tyson Fury. He has to fight Anthony Joshua. Now, I hate this from Joshua. Let me tell you why. Because the same WBC belt he's raving about, saying Tyson Fury has had it since February. That's a fact. The first fight was a draw. I don't care what you think. That's what the judges said. So he didn't collect the belt from the first Wilder fight. He only beat Wilder in February. So he had the belt for all of a couple months. And you hear Joshua seeming a lot more energetic, and he has a different energy versus fighting Fury. Oh, yeah, one dominant figure, and he has the WBC in it. He's saying all this. But when Wilder had that WBC since God knows when, 2016 or 15 or whatever, when he beat Bermane Stiverne, you didn't see this same energy from Joshua. And Joshua turned down $50 million with pay-per-view proceeds, 50% of that. Matchroom Boxing boss Hearn is ended speculation that Wilder and Pulev could accept a step-aside deal to allow Joshua Fury to happen. Quote, Wilder is not going to be stepping aside, so Pulev is the fight for us, Hearn told Sky Sports. Once again, UK media is looking pathetic, bro. I'm just going to tell you straight up, no filter, they're looking pathetic because they keep letting Eddie Hearn, pull their chain or whatever and try to jog up stuff about Joshua Fury and clout chase all these other fights, Andy Ruiz, even though Dillian White, it just says Dillian White's in camp for Povetkin. But let Eddie Hearn tell it, he'll keep talking about Andy Ruiz. This is not the American way. And I understand they're not from America. But what I'm saying is America's a big place. And it just looks weird, this energy from the UK. Once again, at the end of this article, it says Wilder is not going to be stepping aside, so Pulev is the fight for us, right? So Hearn is all over the place. He is all over the place. Right? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. You should never step aside, never, right? Eddie Hearn says it would be embarrassing for Wilder to step aside. He said Wilder taking a step aside, right? Deontay Wilder. So this is what he's saying now. But there's an interview with Hearn, and look, he says, bro, Hearn just, all he does is say a bunch of lies. Eddie Hearn, Frisco, Texas. So I believe it was when the fight week for Mikey Garcia, promotion when he fought Jesse Vargas. Eddie Hearn, Wilder would step aside for Joshua Fury. Anything solvable with money. Bro, he said on record, and I just showed you, and there's videos of it too. He says that, look, Hearn, Wilder would step aside for Fury Joshua. Anything is solvable with money. So in this, he said, if I'm Wilder, I don't really want that third Fury fight until September. blah, blah, blah. So there's things you could do. Number one is let Joshua and Fury fight, right? So this whole article is about how for the right money and for the right price, Deontay Wilder would step aside, right? But then after that, he contradicts himself per usual by saying it would be embarrassing for Wilder to step aside and that Wilder shouldn't take step aside money and that you should never step aside. And in this most recent Tyson Fury article, they have him quoted as saying, quote, Wilder is not going to be stepping aside, so Pulev is the fight for us, Hearn told Sky Sports. Man, this dude is all over the place. And the UK media is looking embarrassing because they never check it. They never bring up these contradictions. They always let American channels, American media, and new media do the dirty work, bro. Eddie Hearn he's just running amok and saying whatever, and he's not being held to his own statements. You say anything solvable with money and that Wilder would take step aside money to fake jaws up a Joshua Fury fight, which you know is not going to happen, and you clout chase that whole situation and say, oh, yeah, move aside, Wilder. Oh, we'll give you some money. And then you get guys like Bob Arum, who represents a portion of Tyson Fury's career, and he says Wilder will not step aside, right? So it's just all these contradictions, right? All these. Arum shoots down claims that Wilder revealed step aside. Deontay Wilder won't step aside, says Bob Arum. You see what I'm saying? So 1 minute he's saying anything solvable with money and Wilder, to trick fans or whatever and make fans believe that Fury could be fighting Joshua next and get them hyped for no reason. He's saying that anything solvable with money, we'll give Wilder money. And then you have Bob Arum contradict that and say, Wilder ain't stepping aside. Money don't grow on trees. We're not paying Pulev and Wilder money just to not fight, And then now you have Eddie Hearn changing it and saying it would be embarrassing if Wilder were to step aside and Wilder's not going to be stepping aside. I could have told you that from the beginning. Man, get this man out of here. As far as Fury, I actually like his attitude, what he's saying here. You got to take it one fight at a time. In the heavyweight division, anything could happen. So Joshua, he didn't look too well against Ruiz in the rematch even, to me. So we don't know how he's going to look in a Kubrat Pulev fight. So two people have to win important fights for Joshua Fury to be a reality. So he's absolutely right. If Wilder stretches Fury, then I believe that would lead into a 4-fight saga, just like Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. Yes, it's up to my promoter. It'll be the same type of thing where the first 3 fights were so viable and fun for fans and entertaining, and the two styles gel so well that it would lead to a 4th fight, and that's just the reality of it. So a lot of things have to happen. This pandemic has to end, for one, so we can see what's going on. How do you manifest big fights without a crowd necessarily, or will crowds come back? We got to wait for that. And then we got to wait for the fights, the order of operations. Tyson Fury has a contract with Wilder, which we knew before the second fight, before a verdict was rendered, right? And Joshua was scheduled to fight Pulev. So those things have to happen and fall into place for this fight you see on the screen to happen. But once again, you have Eddie Hearns and a lot of the UK media not holding him to any standard, so they're just allowing him to show you this fight. Listen, this is a good fight. Fury versus AJ is a good fight. You have never heard me say anything other than that. It's a big fight for British history and lineage. I get it. But that doesn't mean you have to clout chase and get the fans hyped up for no reason on a mythical fight that it's not realistic to happen next. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have a chance of making this fight next, all things considered, but let Eddie Hearn tell it. He's going to try to paint this picture as if there's a chance that it can happen next. And there's just so many things in the way and roadblocks that would have to be discerned and moved out the way, which you have guys like Bob Arum, who's a part of the equation, saying they won't be moved out of the way, it becomes clout chasing. When you know in your heart what you're saying ain't going to happen and you just arbitrarily saying this stuff, then you're clout chasing. You're riding the coattail. Fury did well for himself, whatever, beat Wilder. It is what it is. But another thing is, this shows me that Fury has fear for Wilder. You know, all the people writing Wilder off and saying he's done, and, you know, Eddie Hearn, I heard him saying some goofy stuff like that, saying that, you know, Wilder's over and he'll never get a Joshua shot. You know, Joshua never wanted to fight Wilder anyway. But this shows me that Fury is at least being realistic. Because why would you be talking about if Wilder knocks me out? You know, if you thought you were going to just run through him and he wasn't going to be hungry to try to get that WBC belt, oh my God, Sophia, WBC, I want that belt back. I'm so frustrated, Eddie Hearn. You know, if you didn't, to this day, if you didn't think Deontay Wilder was going to be a man on a mission and a dangerous threat in the trilogy, why would you even suggest, hey, if I get knocked out by Wilder, then that deads the, you know, Joshua fight? So to me, I think Fury, at least, you know, I like where his head's at, because he's being realistic that it ain't over. This whole series with Wilder ain't over. First fight was a draw. You ran through Wilder's second fight. He said he was feeling weird. We got to see what happens in the third fight. Boom. You never know. Let me know what you guys think. New media, we control the narrative. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.